Ben Shapiro's gonna come out like, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't.
Hey, we got it. Yo, welcome back to Hill to Die On Pod. I'm Greg Melly. This is gklobo, and yo,
first time ever.
Hill to Die On has a pod member, a guest. I'm messing up early. What?
Greg's excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've never had to do a third person.
Wow.
This is Henry Sir. Henry, introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello. Hi. I am Henry Sir.
Henry, it's a lot of people. This is a lot of pressure.
It's gonna change your life.
Extreme following.
That's why I come here, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Henry. I'm thanks for having me, man. I
Yeah,
feel like that's a lot of pressure that I don't know if I can live up to it.
You're our first ever guest.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not going to live up to it.
Yeah, just accept that you're not going to live up to it.
I'm having deja vu right now. This is weird.
Really?
This is a good
it's crazy because
negative talk
we've never
about
met.
myself. Yeah, just negative.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry for coming out the gate of our friendship of 30 seconds being so mean to you.
No, it's the self-talk I have is
Okay,
worse,
good,
so
good,
don't
good,
worry
good.
about
He's a
it.
man in America.
Yeah.
You know, it's how we talk to each other.
Man.
That's beautiful.
It is.
I love that.
So we've never had a guest before, but I think our goal with the guest is to bring in a hill that you want to die on, that you would die on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So if you have a hill that you would want to die on.
First let's intro Henry. Let's talk about who he is.
Cut that. We're going to cut that. Jamie, cut that. Cut that out of the pod. Cut that out of the pod. My big brother's here. Now I'm nervous.
Yeah, I know.
So,
okay, Henry and I have never met, so this is exciting.
Yeah.
What are your first impressions of me? Do you love me?
Not a fan.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding.
Okay.
Totally kidding.
No, well,
what a crazy question to ask someone.
That is a terrible
That's
question.
insane. Hey, we've never met, so
I
what is
thought
your
you were gonna
first
be-
impression of me?
Like, get to know you. Like, Henry, tell us about yourself. No. How do you feel about me?
The pressure that's being put on me is ridiculous
Yeah.
right now. First
Just
guess,
like-
what do you think about me? Tell me
Give
what you
like
think.
5 words, just be like flashy, punchy. I don't know.
Redhead, for
Redhead,
sure.
yeah.
Man alive.
But Henry,
How do you guys
seem
know each
love-
other? How do you guys know each other?
you're our guest. You got to,
Through the Comedy Cellar.
So Henry's
Nice.
a great comic. If you want to explain on that, how long you've been doing it.
I'm a
what's going on.
phenomenal
Yeah, tell
comic.
us.
Some of the best you've ever
I
seen.
don't
Also,
like you. I'm your first guest, and I'm
And I'm
fucking great
amazing at
stand-up.
comedy. 3 things about me.
also
Yeah.
music. The man can play guitar.
Oh, you have a guitar tattooed on you.
I
even.
do. Yeah, I love guitar. I love.
Is, like in case he forgets.
Yeah, in
He's
case
like,
I
oh shit,
forget.
I still got it.
I can
fuck,
do that.
It's like
Like-
Memento.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you're
smart.
goddamn
That's
right.
smart.
Yeah, we met at the Comedy Cellar. I had I was like in the process of moving here. I'm from Canada, but I was living in LA,
Cool.
and I was in the process of moving here. And Greg's one of the first dudes I met there, and one of the
And you were
favorite people.
I should go
Love
back.
this guy. Yeah.
I would normally love that, but he said one of the favorite people, and there's
No,
no way
that's- no,
anyone's
that's
higher
high
than
praise.
me.
in general,
In all of
Come on,
America.
man. Good
In all of
Lord.
Good
America,
answer.
you're one of his favorite
Good
people.
answer.
Yeah, you're one of my favorite people.
You
Yeah.
made him stay despite it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
No, made quick. Greg and I became buds real quick.
Nice.
So yeah.
I remember your audition.
Yeah.
I was there for your audition. I was like, yo, just do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
kill box. You're going to be good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you murdered. It was
Thanks,
a great
buddy.
Oh, I
set.
love that.
Yeah.
So,
thank
yeah,
you.
I mean, honestly, like to the viewer, to you, because you don't know Henry, genuinely the nicest dude I've ever met in comedy.
Oh,
It's
thanks,
crazy that
buddy.
we already have beef too.
I know.
Yeah, well, that's a you thing.
Yeah, it
Because
truly
you're like
is.
really unlikable
Yeah,
and hard
it's
to
true.
Yeah,
It's
I was
true,
gonna
yeah.
say.
We had a whole episode
Yeah.
of Who's the Bigger Douche, and it was you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
won. Yeah,
Because
Yeah,
you're
I
like,
mean,
Yeah.
I can only
I didn't know
imagine.
what pretentious was
true,
until I
it's
met
true.
Grace.
Are you pretentious?
a little bit,
I
but I
respect
think
that.
I've earned it.
You see what I'm
Pretentious
saying?
way
You
to
see
say
what I'm saying?
pretentious. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
see what I'm saying?
Wow.
It's the word choice
What a
in it.
pretentious
Yeah.
way to
It's
say
really,
you're
really
pretentious.
bad. Yeah, but
Wait,
When
so
it-
when did you move here from Canada?
So I moved to like 4 years ish ago. Moved to LA and was there for 2 years and been in New York now for 2 years.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Which one do you like more?
I mean, lifestyle wise, just because I'm from the cold, man, I really
Yeah.
I like living on the West Coast. I
That
love going
makes
to the
sense,
beach,
yeah.
but like comedy and people wise, I do certainly
Nice.
prefer New York.
what's the
Nice.
difference between the comedy in LA to New York, in your opinion? You can be honest.
I mean, I don't think it's a hot take or anything, but I think here there's just more people are actually doing comedy because they like doing stand up, and it's just more like I like jokes. I like more joke
Yeah.
writing,
Right.
So like there really are a lot of really good comics out in LA, but you know, generalizing, I think a lot of people in LA are just by any means necessary. Like, I just want to be famous. I want to be a star
Right,
in
yeah.
comedies. There's that here too, but it's just there. What I always say is there feels more transactional, where here feels more interactional. You can actually have conversations with people that doesn't just immediately going into posturing and
Sure,
networking
sure.
and seeing what we can get from each other.
Yeah.
So that's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's nice.
everything I've heard. It's basically the same. And it's LA, it's kind of like more personality. Like you're trying to sell your personality more.
Yeah, it's just like a lot, like, and it's not just the comics. Like one of the last times I was back there, I was doing like the Improv, which is a good club and everything, but there was like looking on the crowd, I'm like, why are you guys like wearing leather outfits? Like people in the audience are trying to like, they're filming themselves. They're putting clips out or something.
Everyone is clipping in LA. That's crazy.
Look how hard I crushed it at this comedy show.
It's a lot of bomber jack. It's like, honestly, it's just a lot of times, and again, tons of very cool people and very funny comics out there, but a lot of it is just like a dude in a loud bomber jacket, puffing his chest out, being cool.
He sounds hot.
Oh God.
No,
so off to a terrible
I hate
start.
Him.
So what year were you out in LA?
Like just pre. I went there like just pre-COVID, and then went back to Canada for COVID, and then as soon as like things opened up, when was that? Like 2020? Was it 22?
I guess.
Kind of. So I guess you were kind of there for the explosion of Matt Rife. Because I would say, would you have seen a change because of what he created?
No, I don't think so. Because when I was there, like I like ran into him at some shows sometimes, and he was already like, from what I understand at least, because I don't honestly really know, but he was like pretty. He was already like doing stuff. Succeeded, like successful. But then he became like the ultra mega star. Actually, I think while I was out here, because I remember being at the cellar, like at the table, and comics losing their minds over him. It's like it wasn't between the hot supermodel guy and you disgusting little gremlin. Like
that's actually such a good point. Because I feel like so much in comedy is you're like, why did that person get this thing that I could have gotten? And it's like, you were not the two things they were choosing between. No, like it was not between.
He looks like he's like a boy, and I don't mean it as a nod.
No.
Yeah, it's like the Backstreet Boys. They weren't taking the bread off the table of some grungy little skid bag. Like it wasn't screaming little girls. We're going to be these disgusting incels with body odor or Nick Carter. They're different things. And I don't know the guy. I'm not like, I don't really honestly like watch his comedy or anything, but it is wild how many people are like, as if like it was between me and
it could have been. It was gonna be me.
You're
if it wasn't him.
45-year-old goblin. No, it wasn't.
No, that's a beautiful way to look at life.
But Matt's also been doing it for a really long time.
Yeah, apparently.
Like he's been doing Jamie? Well, that's what your job's here.
Probably like 30 or something.
He's got to be mid-30s now, but he's been doing comedy since he was a late teenager, like on the road, and he opened doing black rooms too. So I'm like, this dude's put in his work. 29.
Oh, so
that makes me like him less now.
I don't like how
now I'm thinking it honestly could have been me or him.
I don't like that he's achieved so much more than
I'm
me.
like, damn.
Yeah, but so I saw him around there, but I think that was more so when I was here when he became the like Institute of Comedy.
Right? The Matt Rife Institute of Comedy.
The grosser of the field.
It's wild.
What part of Canada are you from?
I'm from Edmonton, so that's Alberta.
Cool.
Prairies.
Yeah, I feel like I meet a lot of comics who are from Toronto, and
they're all from Toronto.
Yeah,
Toronto people are nuts.
My grandma's from Newfoundland.
Oh God,
so those are crazy people.
Oh, she's Irish.
Yeah.
Does she have a thick Newfie
accent?
No,
she only lived there until she was like 5, and then she moved to the US. But my cousins and I are trying to plan a trip like to go see it.
Cool. I haven't been to Newfoundland.
It's hard to get to.
It's Irishy.
Newfoundland's like so far east that it's like they call them the Doofy Newfies because it was like all Irish immigrants who came and found this like rocky, cold, barren coastline. They were like, this is pretty much the same.
The Maritimes. So you have the province, you have the territories above. This is funny.
Yeah,
you have the territories above, then you have the strip of the provinces, then you have the Maritimes, which is like the islands. And like if you talk to a Newfie, like there's like Irish people that think they're Irish. They just have
and they have like accents. Like
really?
It's like
sound like
that's like I don't like that.
Yeah,
you don't like that.
Greg
don't you like that?
Irish people.
I don't want you to sound Irish if you're from Canada.
Go up there and tell them.
They're from like closer to Ireland than like they are to where like it's they're so far east.
But that I guess you're right.
Anyway, sorry for bringing up.
Now I'm thinking Hawaii, and I'm like, if they told me they were Asian, I'd allow it.
I don't like that. You're American. Why do you look that way? Your words, not mine.
You know what? You're right. Though. I should hold on to that. Don't worry. At the end of the episode, we'll do an apology tour. So we'll have like a 5 to 10 minutes of us.
It'll be longer than the episode.
Yeah,
man.
that's usually how it goes with me.
This past, we've been on our best behavior.
The last episode we were good. We talked about love on the spectrum. Somehow avoided anything.
I heard you guys saying some real hateful stuff towards autistic.
Well, that was off camera.
As you know.
Oh, you're right. It wasn't recorded.
When the camera's off, a lot of slurs.
A lot of slurs.
That's how Grace and I got to know each other.
My God, these little
we get it out.
Jeez.
We get it out before.
I really don't like autistic.
But that's America, though.
We don't.
I mean, that's what it's all about. It's freedom.
It's freedom.
Freedom of expression.
Exactly. And then if I say something and there's a consequence to it, that's not right.
No.
You know what I mean?
That's Islamo-Marxist terrorism.
Exactly.
It's cancel culture.
Because freedom of speech only exists if there is no consequence to what I do.
Exactly.
Sure.
You know?
Exactly.
While we're on the topic, let's talk about Kramer.
Oh my God.
You want to talk about not being able to say anything anymore?
No, not in my America.
Every time I tell one of my brothers that I'm going to do comedy, he goes, if you're thinking about it, Kramer at the Laugh Factory, that could be a cool move for you tonight.
That's also not like, that's kind of like a little nerve wracking coming from your conservative family.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. He doesn't really want me to do it, but
like he wouldn't hate it.
He's like, listen, you get a lot of press. You'd blow up online.
No publicity's bad publicity.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
Make a hot clip.
When I did a Cat Williams impression and everyone's like, man, why is this white boy doing that shit?
Yeah. What, have you seen Greg's Cat Williams impression?
I haven't. Could you do it?
Maxim, I'm sorry.
What I hate about it is now it's been every episode. I've found a way to do it. It's so bad.
I've seen him do it. I went out with you guys on Thursday night and Greg did it at a bar in public too.
And Lawrence liked it.
Okay. Why you bring him up?
He's black.
Wow. I mean, if he did.
Nah, he liked it. Then he was like, I can do a Bernie Mac. Oh, I'm tired of these motherfuckers. I was like, yeah, but like you
Greg
sound
can do
like him
a
already.
Whole range of black comics.
Yeah, because I was thinking like, yo, like what's the next one I'm thinking? Like Dave Chappelle. But I'm like, why haven't I thought of just a white dude?
Yeah, I don't know why you haven't thought of I would say that if I were you and I was coming up with a list of impressions.
Bill Burr? That's kind of, all right,
Greg says Bill Burr like he's never heard of
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr, is that, now who is that?
Bill.
Boston guy?
Yeah, I'll slip in the Cat Williams at some point. You know what I mean?
Do you do impressions?
Oh, I do wildly racist impressions.
Oh, good. So you and Greg, that's why you're friends.
I don't know if I do. I can't do impressions on demand. It needs to be spontaneous. I actually surprisingly do a decent Ben Shapiro. Maybe that'll
doesn't surprise me.
That is right up.
I mean, you're a white guy with a microphone right now, so I'm like, you totally
do I sound like Ben Shapiro?
You really don't. You really don't.
Good Lord, that is offensive. Like that's what the first thing you thought of me. Like this guy does a good Ben Shapiro.
I don't know this guy, but I'm telling you, he's got a good Ben.
He's a Daily Wire guy.
Yeah.
Wait, I was just saying. Oh, never mind.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So Ben Shapiro. Anything else?
I've only tried the Jordan Peterson once or twice. I don't know if it's good, but I like going for the right wing incel guys.
I like that. Yeah. That's a good.
But that's also kind of like your like the not sarcastic, but like what's the word when you're like pretending to do something?
Like ironic? No.
Like how would you explain your brand to those who don't know it? Satire.
I like pretending. I like really leaned into that with the last thing I did, and I enjoyed like the last thing I did is in like the album special, whatever I did, where I
and
really.
Where could you?
Let's plug that.
Like,
I have it's on YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel. I'm Henry Sir. It's called Mr. Sir.
I like that. That's good.
Thanks.
We do have an audience. Like this isn't just gonna go in the.
No, I'm not doubting you. What are you defensive for?
No, but I'm saying like
I'm just terrible at self promotion. It makes me.
That's why we're friends.
No, of course, buddy. But you're right. Yes, I like leaning into the like pretending to be like a super right wing alpha male guy. Yeah. I find that stuff to be very funny to be like an alpha patriot.
You're not?
No.
What?
You can just do a really good Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson.
I like that.
It'll come up spontaneously.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'd love. Okay, our next episode is just going to be Ben Shapiro and Cat Williams.
Yeah, bring Ben Shapiro on.
Yeah.
Get those. Yeah.
I can also do. Have you seen Family Guy?
Of course.
Okay. Oh, Chris, how you doing, Christopher?
That's pretty good.
You're so tiny.
That's really good, actually.
Yeah, I can do that too.
I don't do any impressions.
What do you do, Greg?
I know, that's a good question.
You're just being a woman
I just
in comedy.
offend people.
You're just so powerful on your own. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just so proud of you for being a woman in comedy. Because there's not enough.
A comedian.
It's brave. A comedian. Yeah. And I also dance and I sing and
it also well. Yeah. Also well.
Yeah.
And sometimes all at the same time on stage.
Wow.
Absolutely,
when the jokes are not working.
And when they never are because women aren't funny.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Finally
someone said it.
That's why we have the pod together.
Okay, so our podcast started because Greg and I like to get in a lot of arguments.
Sure.
And
we just don't like each other. Yeah. And then have rephrased
totally understandable.
As you maybe the fact that we're sitting on the same couch right now is
the tension is palpable.
Yeah, it truly is.
It really is.
But we are both really stubborn and we're also both really stupid. But we don't realize that about ourselves. So we wanted to bring in someone else who has a take.
Stupid, dumb,
right.
A hill to die on, as it were.
Man, I was actually thinking a lot about hills because I was just going down such negative roads with them. Like this isn't fun for a podcast.
You can do that here. You can do that.
I was trying to think of something that I actually mean that sounds like it could be contrarian or dumb, but I actually mean. And a hill I am willing to die on is that the world would objectively be a better place if people 25 and up legally had to take mushrooms every 3 months.
I'm into it.
All right, say it one more time.
So once you're 25, it's a legal requirement that you have to do a mushroom trip.
It's like jury
once
duty.
every 3 months. So quarterly.
Right.
Every fiscal quarter.
Is it like one day a year? Like one day quarterly for everyone?
1 day
that they all have to do it?
That I haven't thought out that much.
I like that.
I don't know if we could all be tripping balls at the same time. We need some people staying on this plateau. But I think everyone, they're going to have their own
just make
schedule.
Everybody under 25 work that day.
Now, everybody under 25, they got it. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
know?
Oh, are you allowed to do shrooms before you turn 25?
You can do shrooms before, but it's not a legal requirement.
Okay,
yet.
sure.
But
sure.
now
it's legal.
like,
and if you don't, like nothing, you get fined. But the world would objectively be a better place. Yeah. And I say by the 25 because like I think you might be a little bit past that. Like
full
I'm just going to be like partying.
Yeah.
Full frontal.
Oh,
like
full front, prefrontal.
Oh.
Oh my God. Okay, hi.
Get your cocks out.
Your face.
You know we all do full frontal.
By the time you're 25, your hog's out.
Everyone's got to do porn. Quarterly.
Full frontal cortex. Sounds like a good band name. Full frontal cortex.
Yeah.
The full frontal cortex. You guys
I think by the time you're 25, you're probably going to be doing it less from like a partying and more of like a self-exploration and realizing you've had enough time in the world and you're seeing you're at this point you can be like, oh, all this stuff I think is actually complete bullshit.
Sure.
I think 25 is a good point, and I think we would all get along better. I think we would see through all the bullshit that we all reinforce and take part in. That's my hill I think I'm willing to die on.
That would break capitalism.
This.
Yeah.
That would break it.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, no,
that's why it'll never happen.
Shrooms, you're annoying, and you're like, oh, job, that's...
But
it's
also
true,
imagine the money
right.
in the drug market, though. That would... Dude, they would make so much money.
That's why I think when they decriminalize it completely, I think they're going to tamper with the mushrooms so that it doesn't fully give you the like, oh, this is all an illusion and money's just made up. I don't think they're going to let us get there.
This sounds like a good
I actually
sci-fi
really
plot,
agree with
right?
this.
You know?
Yeah.
I would watch this movie.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's like a Black
I'm
Mirror
bored.
episode.
Okay, yeah.
You know?
I'm on board, but I think quarterly is too much.
Why is that?
I would say legal requirement. I feel like you get the benefits from it from like, I think once a year.
Yeah.
I would also say
like
quarterly would still, you're kind of thinking about the person who still does it recreationally. So like that dude's probably just tripping on shrooms a lot.
Probably. Good.
You know?
Should be.
So how much is like how much would you do it in a year?
I try to do mushrooms and I don't now because they're so much harder to get here than in Canada. Like you can just go on magicmushroomdispensary.ca and
go
it just
to a bodega.
Whoa.
Do the chocolates.
Yeah, you can get them.
The chocolates are different, man. Those don't hit the
That was
same.
a really
that's
chocolates
true.
are different.
They don't hit
man.
But you can do
They're
the
different, man.
You can do the. Have you ever done the lemon juice?
Man.
I haven't done the lemon juice. What's the lemon juice?
The lemon juice makes it more potent.
Oh,
so it's a quicker hit.
Oh,
too.
really?
Yeah.
I'm talking about
what?
just the dried stems and
No, I'm
caps.
saying,
Yeah, that's
but
what
you
I
soak
feel
it.
like.
Oh, really?
You know, you
makes it more
soak it in that.
potent.
Yeah. So, all right,
Interesting.
I'll have a mushroom question for you. When you take
Please.
mushrooms, are you a shitter, thrower, upper, or can
Whoa.
you?
No, I mean, you'll get the rumbles.
Right.
There's no escape from that. The little
Yeah.
you're gonna feel
The
a little
grumblies,
grimy.
yeah.
you
I
might.
let go. And once I let
It's
go,
bubbly.
it's bliss.
Have you guys dabbled with mushrooms? I hope
Yes.
and also
Oh, yeah.
I don't want this to be like I'm a Joe Rogan psychonaut
No,
thing.
no, it's not giving
It's just
that. Yeah.
honestly, I think mushrooms would help everyone. They've
I
helped me
agree with
so
you.
much.
I
Don't worry.
agree.
After this, we're going to talk about why Austin is the mecca for comedy.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
We
yeah.
should all
We're
go
gonna-
on
this
Kill
is
That's why we
Tony.
asked you so much
Every
about LA.
mushroom
We wanted you to bring up
conversation-
to
That's the
Austin.
other hill I'm
Leads
going to
to
die on
Austin.
is
We're also
real
all
comedy is done in
anti-vax, to
Austin.
be
The
clear.
6 streets in Austin are better than everything in New York.
Goddamn right.
Yeah, yeah.
Tony
oh my God,
Hinchcliffe's
completely.
cool.
Yeah, 100%.
He's so cool.
Tony Hinchcliffe's awesome.
He's really cool.
I'd like to hang out with him. That's
And
the other
honestly,
hill I
like the
wanna
thing
die
about
on.
I love
That's
so
my
much
favorite.
about Tony Hinchcliffe is he's very secure in his masculinity.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's like, as another guy, I just
Totally.
really appreciate
I think he's
that.
a net
Guys,
positive
yep.
for society and comedy.
Completely.
Right. Comedy's honestly gotten way
Completely.
better since Rogan has really kind of exploded
so.
on the scene.
I think so.
Mhm.
If I have a son, I'm naming him Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wow, he sounds like a Civil War
That's
general.
really
Hinchcliffe,
nice.
sir.
Hinchcliffe, sir.
You can do a lot of fun stuff with your son's first name.
Admiral or something.
Yes,
Admiral Sir. Bro, it sounds like an NBA player.
Yeah,
Lieutenant
Admiral
Sir.
Yeah,
Shut
totally.
up.
It's going to be a serious responsibility.
Yeah,
if
he's
we have
got a
children.
lot to, to live up to.
Yeah, I could really sab it. I knew there was a guy, his last name was King, and he was a basketball coach. His first name was Commander.
Wow.
Commander King.
Wow. That's fucking awesome.
If that dude isn't the most
He was a black dude.
alpha.
You could do an impression of him.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll watch a couple of
He's a basketball player. He
King
sounds way
videos.
too tall for Greg.
No, I can do an impression. If he's black, I got it.
Oh, yeah, I'm aware. Yeah.
It's not accurate.
That's him.
It's not racist. It's accurate, baby. Because pimping ain't easy, ho. Yeah, I got Maxim. Maxim's back on board. That's Maxim back there behind the 38 covers.
Back on board. Damn. Okay, I like this. So wait, so when did you start doing shrooms?
So I'm 36. First time I did shrooms was when I was 30, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at a
So
buddy's.
you thought your life would have been better if you had that 5-year.
Yeah, but I think if I started earlier, it probably would have helped me with some neuroses and things that I get bogged. And I still get Jesus Christ, I'm a lunatic.
Yeah.
But I do mushroom.
I mean, there's nothing harder than being a white man in America. Though.
I mean, it's the persecution is what drives me
ridiculous.
nuts. I can't do anything. I can't fucking say anything anymore.
Really.
Don't even.
So these
Kramer.
fucking PC police.
Yeah.
Can't even say the N-word on stage anymore. No,
that was my best bit.
That was my only bit.
That's my whole plan.
But I think if I was 25, it could have helped me just with certain things. I get so bogged down with just understand a little bit it's really not.
It doesn't in the
that
grand
important.
scheme of
This isn't significant.
Yeah, none of it.
So I did it at a friend's bachelor party out in the Rocky Mountains of Canada.
Okay, that sounds sick.
It was incredible.
Wait, the Rocky Mountains are in Canada too?
So they go all the way.
She wasn't lying. You are stupid,
so here's
man.
The thing.
What is
here's the
this?
thing about our podcast. There's a lot of stuff Greg doesn't know.
I'm
to the
sorry,
point
You mean
that
the Rocky Mountains are in Canada too?
I thought they were
That's where the good ones are.
To the point that my aunt,
the good ones aren't in America.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, the better one. One of my aunts stopped listening to the podcast because there was too much stuff that Greg didn't know.
Wait, really?
Crazy. I did. I wanted to wait to tell you on air. But yeah, my aunt Susie.
Wait, that breaks my heart.
It's
is that real, Aunt Susie?
Yeah.
Wait, what was it?
She's not
guy?
listening. You don't have to worry about it. She's not. listening.
She's not listening anymore.
You didn't know too much stuff, and it upset her.
Well, we had that one episode where I just felt like everything was over my head.
Yeah.
Didn't know the Canadian Rockies are a thing.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. There's
the Rockies are good in the States. I'm telling you, man. Alberta, Banff, Jasper, incredible. Unflippin' believable.
We gotta get you in the Rockies. Yeah, they're pretty cool.
I've never been to Canada.
What?
I mean,
it's easy to go to. It's pretty close.
I want to consider going now. It's a superior country. So
that's
every conversation we have, I hope it eventually circles back to the geography of Canada.
Yeah, I really want that.
Yeah, we really have we've covered the Maritimes, the provinces, the territories, the Rockies,
what's that,
the Canadian Shield in Manitoba.
Bear, like Nunavut. What's the
Nunavut?
Yeah, Nunavut. Where's the
Grace? You're killing us.
Churchill.
Right now.
What's the one with all the polar bears?
Winston.
What?
There's a town with there's all polar bears in.
Maybe.
Canada.
Oh, that's Alaska.
I saw it on TikTok, so it's real. I promise.
Maybe.
Okay, so mushrooms. That was.
You're right. You know what? We took Canada geography too far. I was like, we can keep it going.
Thank God you did that. You're like, look how much I know.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I tried. This is why I'm pretentious.
I understand.
In college, did you experiment with anything, or was it?
I started smoking weed in college and I boozed, but that was it. I didn't start drinking till I finished high school, and I wasn't 21 till I tried dabbling with weed and whatnot.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wish I don't know about I don't wish that in high school I was like a little weed fiend or anything, but I do actually I think there is merit in starting a little bit earlier with certain things at a recreational casual level just to chill out a little bit.
Yeah, I'll say I'm I could understand both sides of the coin because I started with psychedelics when I first came out to New York. So it was when I was 24. Okay. And I felt like that was the perfect time for it, you know? Yeah. Weed I smoked in high school and college, but then once college was done, I haven't smoked since. But
I don't smoke anymore either.
I saw my roommate in college get so addicted to psychedelics of it.
Really?
And it was and I think it's because he kind of got into it a little early,
right?
Where I could see the real downside, where it's he never came out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Real downside of it. So it's also you just got to be careful with what it is that you're taking. Because that dude was ordering LSD seeds off of the dark web.
Yeah, that's insane.
You know? And then it was take one with a tea, and that dude's like, what if I take the whole bag?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll see God.
That's insane. No, you 100% need to have a reliable source. You need to do it safely. Needs to be respected.
Sure.
Yeah. I think going in with like an intention.
100%.
That's everything.
Yeah. I genuinely think if you haven't done mushrooms, and it is different for everyone, but I think a lot of people have the assumption that it's going to be like, I'm an orange, I have to peel myself and then I can fly off a bridge. Like, that's not what it is.
Sounds awesome.
It's exactly my experience.
It's just like, without trying to over explain it, it's not what you think it is. And it can very much liberate some mental shackles you have.
Right. It makes you answer the hard questions you don't want to ask yourself.
Totally. And it just puts certain things into perspective that you already know deep down, or not even that deep down, but I think it just processes in a more clear way. So I genuinely believe if Trump was tripping balls every 3 months, the guy would be bald. This is insane.
He'd be like, this is
he wouldn't be doing that with this hair. He's like, I know, I'm not orange. I don't have a hair. Let's get along.
You know how old he would look?
Oh, he's so ugly.
If you take away the makeup team,
God,
he would be the dude from the Goonies.
Yeah,
you know
truly.
What I'm talking about?
The sloth or whatever. Yeah, he's ugly as shit.
Yeah,
I can't stand that guy.
That's who he would be.
And if he was on mushrooms, he wouldn't be.
Still talking about the guy from the Goonies.
Yeah, him too.
He's ugly as shit. And I can't.
Well, obviously, I'm not talking about Trump. He's the greatest president in the history of this country.
Thank you.
Stolen election.
God, I was worried.
Should have been the Pope.
I agree.
We're storming the Vatican next week.
Storming the Vatican.
We're waiting for
May 6th.
May 6th. Storm the Vatican. Be there.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I think the best health benefit of mushrooms is when you're peaking and you pet a dog.
Yeah.
That is. Yeah, doctors recommend that.
You really get it. You know.
Yeah.
You kind of just
elaborate.
You get life. Man. It's like. My thing with being a person, at least in America, I don't know what it is in other countries, but it's so rat race. It's so
it's insane.
Guinea pig running around in a circle, and it's just the 1% versus 99%, and then the 99% still needs to find their way to think that they're higher than the other rest of the 99%, when in reality we're all nothing.
Totally.
Right.
Sure.
So it's when you're just petting a dog and that dog's looking at you, you're like, yo, this dude fucking gets it.
100% actually.
He gets it.
No, totally. I honestly, so she won't care if I say this. My wife and I, it's fun because she got into mushrooms a little bit later than me, and she doesn't do them as intensely necessarily as I do them. But a fun thing we'll do is we'll have mushroom trips. Do a day as a whole write off, and we'll go outside and go for a hike or something. So we'll take our dog and we'll do a mushroom trip, and he's our little trip sitter. He's so in touch with it all. And you'll have these moments when you're tripping balls where you're something's or a bunch of things are really occurring to you, and you just kind of freeze, and you're I got to sort through these, but there's so much happening and there's no way of expressing it verbally. And he just he knows, and he just stops and sits. And then once we kind of resolve the thought, or we talk it out, then all of a sudden he's up and he's wagging his tail and he's okay, we can keep going. But I do know what you mean, because he is you look at him and they're dogs are just so pure and just such beautiful animals, and you see that's the good part of nature and life and the beauty and all of it, not bogged down with the hustling.
Because at the end of the
day,
how
many Instagram followers do I have?
No, exactly.
Because we are primal, we're animals, and everything
yeah.
we've created over the years has made us believe we're not.
Exactly.
But mushrooms is what brings you back down to that. We're just a bunch of different animals on
it. Gets you very in tune with earth and nature. And again, I don't mean any of this of I have it all figured out, because I do not, but honestly life contextualizes in just so much more a crystal clear way and perspective.
Totally.
And I think it really helps with increasing empathy and understanding others, or at least feeling close to understanding others. And I think that is such a thing we lack now in Canada too, because it's easy to shit on America.
Yeah.
And you should shit on America.
We will.
Canada's not much better. It's a little better right now, but it's not that much better.
Shout out to the 51st state.
That's where I'm from, is Alberta. Those are the people that want to be the 51st state. Not Alberta, not where I'm from. I can't posture too much.
Sure.
But you are right, man. Here it's insane. I'm one of the jokes I'm psyched about right now is about how hyper capitalist America is with your ads. And I have this joke about your billboards for injury attorneys that are literally trying to catch your attention so you get injured, so you can hire them. And your pharmaceutical ads are insane.
Yep.
Right.
And that's without doing the bit. That's one of the bits I'm actually really psyched about, because it's super capitalist in Canada, but it's a different level of branding and commercializing literally everything.
Yeah.
It's
any way to make a buck in America, it has been figured out, and we are just going to milk you poor fuckers for everything you're worth.
So recently I've been not today, but not every day, but recently I've been taking Adderall. Because I find what the best thing about it is the antidepressant of it.
Does Adderall help with depression?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Either.
I only take 20 milligrams. I'll take it when I wake up. I'll be able to fall asleep when I want to go to sleep.
Nice.
And it's like, I'm less doomsday, less like, what's the point?
Right.
Like what's like nothing's going to change today. So what's the point? So it's like,
I didn't know you were this depressed.
It
but okay.
crushes.
Yeah, now we're talking, baby.
How
This
many
is
times
guy's
have we
talking
talked
my
about
language.
I'm like, this episode is like brought to you by AstraZeneca now. It's like,
But like it totally crushes the depression of the daily life. So it's like the antidepressant of it is great, but not being like an antidepressant drug that brings me down.
yeah.
Sure.
Which has always been my fear. So like
when you mean bring you down, kind of like zombify you a little
Yeah,
bit, sort of
stabilize,
thing?
like,
Okay.
because I have friends who
It's
have
like, I need to be able to come. It's so important, and I can't.
right, and like I need to be
Yeah.
able to like, I want to be on. Like, I need to go on stage.
Yeah, no,
Like, I
I get
need
that.
to
You
do,
can't. You have
you
to
know?
be clear-headed. I
Yeah,
get that.
so
I
it's
get
like,
that.
this doesn't like.
Yeah, I don't want to be lobotomized.
It doesn't.
by-
Right.
yeah.
It doesn't lobotomize me, and it's like the best part about it is just the antidepressant of it. But then I was talking to my sister because I want to get prescribed now, and she was like, the only thing you should watch out for is like ADHD is not really a thing yet. Like people don't really, it's not like a medical thing. They don't have like a sign of like, oh, you have ADHD. There's just a
Sure.
bunch of symptoms
Right.
that people can correlate to, oh, it's like an attention issue. But sometimes like people just have depression and
Yeah.
ADHD can be what it looks like. But because now we have Adderall and everything, that the pharmaceutical companies want to sell it and it makes money. So they're kind of pushing the agenda that ADHD is this
Totally.
like
Greg
clinical
did shrooms before
Commercializing
this.
88. Yeah,
He's-
sounds like it.
he's
That's what I'm
on-
talking about,
he's
baby.
on
This
board.
is
Let's
great.
go.
I had a crazy long conversation with my sister like a week ago because I was like, yo, I need to get
That's so cute.
prescribed.
I love
and
this
she's
stuff.
like
Yeah.
very, very intelligent on it. Like her son has to take it because he's like autistic. So it's like he takes Adderall, but then it doesn't do enough for the antidepressant that he also has to take
Yeah.
like SSRI, like depression medicine. So it's like, but for me, I'm like, all right, like, damn, like at least my depression's not that bad.
That's
where I
great,
need
man.
to
Yeah.
also take, like.
Well, to
Yeah.
talk about your nephew, hopefully RFK gets his way and we
Yeah,
get him
yeah,
working out in the
yeah.
field
Exactly.
soon. And
If my nephew's not out in the field by 10,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
America's fucked.
What's the point?
America's,
Honestly,
and he's
Yeah.
9, so
Let's make that. Let's
Tick,
make
tick.
that happen.
Go work those
soon.
fields, young man.
Yeah,
know what I mean?
he's gonna be good at that.
imagine the songs they sing.
Oh.
God.
I think you're totally.
The
I
wheels on
haven't.
the bus?
I haven't
Yeah.
done anything with Adderall, dude. But I think you're totally right, man. That's like to go back to the mushroom thing. Honestly, there's been times just tripping balls on mushrooms where it's not that intense of a trip, but I'm just like, I just don't feel like I have depression.
Yeah.
I just
Exactly.
feel good.
No, it makes
And,
you
like,
happy.
Good about things.
The crazy, like the more I learn about it and the more I think about it, I think it's like cancer. And like cancer is a spectrum. That's why they can't find a cure for it, right? Because it's very
Yeah.
individualistic.
Right.
So with like Adderall and like ADHD and depression, there is not just you have it, you don't have it. It's how much do you
totally.
have? So it's
Yeah.
all a spectrum of like,
Yeah.
it's really hard to
Stage
cure.
4 ADHD.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, people don't understand how much, and I know this is a comedy podcast. I'm such a
No,
goddamn
that's okay.
energy
Honestly,
vampire. Everywhere I
like
go, it
this.
becomes about depression and
I
mental
love
health. And,
this.
but I don't care.
And Canada geography.
In
so-
Canadian,
Right.
I'll be damned if we don't bring up Newfoundland and depression.
Yeah.
But no, it is. People don't understand, like, again, not to reference my comedy constantly, but other jokes I'm like psyched about right now are like mental health related. But people will say and do all the right things about being a mental health advocate and how it's no different than a physical ailment. But people don't believe it. And while it's not
Yeah,
literally
yes.
the same, it is it's this thing that's out of your control.
Completely.
And these
Right.
chemicals going on in your brain,
Yep.
which is a physical thing, which manifests itself in all these different
Totally.
ways. And your brain is convinced you it's in my best interest to do these things that are terrible or act this way.
Yes.
That is the polar opposite of my best interest. People don't understand that yet. And yeah, it might not be we just watched the Carters documentary where like Aaron Carter and his family. It might not
Oh.
be
I
haven't
that
seen
where you're
that.
like, you've clearly, it's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Where you just like spiral and your face is covered in tattoos. You're on
Sure,
Instagram live with a
sure.
shotgun. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
that to be like, this person really suffers
yeah.
with mental health. And mushrooms also rewire the neural
Totally.
pathways in your brain. So it actually does physically help you overcome that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
Also, I couldn't imagine growing up being famous.
Oh, it'd be
Like
terrible.
people are like,
awful.
I can't believe Justin Bieber did that. I'm like,
separate
dude,
mental
I can.
illness. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not-
can you
Older women
imagine-
were trying to bang Justin Bieber when he was 10 years
Totally.
old
Like
on the
Lindsay
Today
Lohan
Show.
never
Oh my
had a
God.
chance. There was no.
No.
There was no way.
And honestly, she did fine.
She looks amazing now. If
Who?
you guys have
Sorry?
seen her.
Lindsay
Lindsay
Lohan.
Lohan looks incredible now.
Does she now?
Outside
she
of that
rebounded?
accent she's been doing.
She's outside of
What's
what?
the accent?
Like she was like she moved to like India or something.
Oh,
and
no,
she
no,
just,
she's
like,
doing an Indian
she just,
accent?
like, I don't know if it was
I didn't know
India.
if this
Jamie,
was-
can you fact check it to tell me what country? She moved to a country.
She's getting to a point where Greg might be able to do an impression of her. She looks good though.
She moved to a country and then just started talking like she lived there.
That's
And then like started going on Instagram Live because she was like trying to kidnap this woman's 2 kids because she could give them a better life.
But she looks
She looks
great.
good.
She looks so good though.
She looks pretty
She's
good.
But she's
glowing.
bounced back. Because she did that movie with John Ronitzky. What?
Dubai.
Dubai. That's in
Okay,
India,
yeah.
right?
No. No, it's not. But that's okay. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a
Dubai.
separate
Lord, dude.
country.
I don't even
Don't say it so confidently.
This is
Yeah,
why
you're
he
right.
thin's I'm pretentious.
I'm the total like the
if you don't
opposite.
know anything, I seem really pretentious.
Damn, that is actually I just put that in perspective. If I was on mushrooms right now, I'd be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
she's right.
Okay, I think one thing
I'm
about
just dumb.
mushrooms is like when I first did mushrooms, I was so scared to try them because I don't smoke weed at all, and I don't like the way weed makes me feel.
Sure.
Because it's that like blurry, like foggy kind of feeling, and I feel like mushrooms are the exact opposite,
Yeah,
where it's like
they're more in tune, right?
it's like, whoa, everything's actually clearer,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing stuff that wasn't. This sounds so like druggy and like, but I'm like now I'm seeing stuff that wasn't even there. Like
Totally.
I didn't realize that the table could move that way if I look at it like with, and it's
Totally.
like, or I've always had the realization of like, oh, I didn't realize like. I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but the first time I did shrooms, I was like, looked at myself in a mirror, which you're like not supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I saw myself in the mirror and I'm not someone who's like, I'm so hot, whatever. And I looked at myself in the mirror that day and was like, wait, I'm like so pretty. That's like
Oh,
so
that's
nice. And then I went and saw my friends after. Yeah. I actually had the thought, and again, I've said this on the podcast
Joe
before.
Rogan would never.
But I had the thought, I looked at myself, I said, I'm so pretty. I actually don't know how people are able to be friends with me. I'm so pretty.
So it's also not just me
Okay.
that makes her pretentious.
And then but then I came downstairs and I saw the friends I was like tripping with, and I looked at them and I started sobbing because I was like, it's because my friends are so pretty too. Like they're all so
okay.
beautiful.
You're such a
and, like,
panderer.
no, I was like, I also every time I do shrooms, I'm crying the
Oh,
entire time,
bawl my eyes out when I-
sobbing.
Bawl my eyes out every time.
Sobbing. And I also think I can speak to dogs sometimes when I'm on them.
Really?
If I'm walking past a dog, like I feel like the best place to do
And you
shrooms
say
is you're
sit
in the
and he
woods.
sits and you're like, holy
Well,
shit.
no, it's
you
like
get
I'll
it.
I'll make eye contact with the dog and be like, people walking these dogs must be like, that woman is not okay.
Sure.
But I'll like make eye contact with the dog and be like, got it. Like
Yeah.
I feel like we're talking. We connected.
I don't want to dismiss
I know.
anything. Honestly,
I'll
I
dismiss
won't
it.
dismiss anything on about shrooms.
I'll gladly
I
dismiss
believe
that.
I believe you.
Okay, so I'm curious about your plan. How are we enforcing? It's a fine, you said?
Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
going
we
to
could
be
do it on Earth Day?
the
No,
thing-
it can't be. Everyone can't be doing it the same day.
I don't. I honestly think it's got to be
Society
broken
would
down.
collapse.
Yeah, I think it's got to be like
Society is
everyone has their
collapsing.
schedule, so it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's begun. But
Well, yeah, sorry,
this
you're
is
right,
the
you're right.
fix. It's going to be like every day of the year, different people in different corners
Yes.
and pockets of the world are.
Yeah.
And I do think it would be good if like whole family units did it together. Sometimes like you switch it up, you make it a different experience
Yeah.
each time with different scenarios, and then
It's like
once
you and
a
your
year.
dad.
Yeah, and it's just
Yeah.
exactly. And then another time, maybe it's just you solo, whatever.
Yeah.
But 4 times a year, every quarter,
Yeah.
I don't know exact financial. I've set it up. If you probably get it shipped to you, because if they're going to make
Sure,
you do
sure.
it, they got to supply it. And then if you don't do it, because we will monitor if
Yeah,
you do it
of
or
course,
not,
of course.
and
There's
you'll
a
get
form.
fined a very
Yeah.
heavy
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah.
If you don't like that,
Well,
you
that's
can
the
eat
problem. Is
shit.
then rich. I will say my problem with your enforcement is that it's going to be much easier for rich people who I think in many ways need it more to fix society.
Yeah, totally.
It's gonna be much easier for them to
Right.
get out of if they want to.
So another
maybe
hill.
prison time could be
Yeah.
good.
So
if
we
it's rich
free
people,
Luigi.
if it's rich people,
Yeah.
they go to jail.
I
If you're
agree.
above this, you
if
either
you're in a certain tax
Yeah.
bracket and you don't do the shrooms,
Yeah.
you spend the rest of that quarter in jail.
or
You
you
have to go out to a brunch
fight
with
someone
Luigi
on
Mangione.
TV that we know will kick the shit out of you.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
so on board for
I would
that.
love to watch a rich guy just get
Yes, get his ass
because he's a
kicked.
nerd that wouldn't, do
wouldn't do
mushrooms.
shrooms, yeah.
Make him play
Just gets his
dodgeball
ass-
again.
Yeah.
Like really
Yeah,
like
totally.
unlock the
Yeah,
fear that
yeah.
started it all.
Yeah, just get
Yeah.
like the best quarterbacks in the
Sure.
NFL to like 10 of them,
Completely.
and his
Right.
bitch ass just running around them, just pelting him with
Yeah.
dodgeballs.
I like too the staggered because I feel like after you do shrooms, there is like phases of that like afterglow where you're like, oh, like you're kind of having a couple of realizations for the following like
Totally.
months. Like to have people in different phases of that would be
and exactly. Nice. I think everyone's going to be going in different phases of it. And the reason I say 4 times a year is I think you do have that afterglow. And I do think the stuff that occurs to you for a while, you're like, I'm really going to implement this. And I think more and more over time, you do more and more, but you also pretty quickly come back to our conditioned state, which is like anxiety and stress and fear. And like, I haven't posted on Instagram today. Completely. And I'm a fucking
none of it matters.
40-year-old, you know, thinking about having been on TikTok. It's
pathetic. Like touch grass.
So then 3 months from then, go back to like, nothing it's no matters. Big deal.
Honestly, I said the 1 year thing. I take it back. I'm in with my other question is dosage. Are we microdosing every time? Or are you fully tripping balls?
I think you do. I think it's going to be different. It's got to be considered like how big you are, weight.
Okay.
Because we don't want it to be like you're taking 4 grams. But I think you should take like at least 2. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you're someone that is capable of taking more, like it's not a brag. You're not supposed to. If you're on antidepressants, you technically probably shouldn't do mushrooms because you get serotonin syndrome.
But legally, you're going to be required to do it. So
I've done it. Yeah, exactly. So don't worry. Once you're in the fields and you're not on antidepressants anymore, and RFK's plan comes to fruition,
you're gonna like it.
You'll be fine, and then you can take mushrooms. I've taken as much as I think I've taken as much as 8 grams before.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
You're a tall guy.
Yeah, and it being on antidepressants, it like nullifies the effect a little bit because I've taken 3.5 grams and it's felt like what I assume a microdose is.
Sure.
So if you're a freak like me, you can go to town. But if you're a cowardly cuck like Charlie Kirk or something,
oh like God, Greg. But the world's gonna be so much better.
Charlie Kirk will just be like, I'm not doing this pod anymore.
I'm so on board. Yeah.
Ben Shapiro's gonna come out like, I'm sorry guys, I didn't.
Hey, we got it. He's been thinking about it the whole time.
No, just kidding. It is a fact. Everybody should be taking psilocybin.
That was good. I like that.
Sorry.
You should do street interviews. Just pretend you're Ben Shapiro.
You're Ben Shapiro. Yeah.
You guys didn't know?
No, you didn't know I'm this tall.
Yeah.
No, Ben Shapiro's dumbass him and Charlie Kirk would just be like, I don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to go to colleges and
terrorize
own live.
children.
I don't need to own teenagers anymore. You know? Fucking
it is. It's crazy.
The way those videos would change, they'd just be like them being like, you know what? Like, you're cool. Yeah.
That guy sucks.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, but truly, how satisfying would that be if he was like, he'd be like, no,
I take it all back.
He at first he'd be like, no, I won't do it because I'm a Christian and Jesus, guaranteed if Jesus was real, that guy would be like, trip balls.
Yo, is Jesus not a product of mushroom?
Yes, I think that's the body of Christ. I legitimately think that's the body of Christ.
Exactly. Religion is a response to drugs. That's always been
100%.
Yeah.
The first time I had like a spiritual, the one time I had a spiritual experience, the first time when truly I would definitely say I was an atheist. Mm-hmm. And then like in the trip, I was telling my wife, I'm like, oh, I'm a born again Christian because I'm like in the presence of Jesus right now.
Your wife was like, okay.
Oh, she was laughing. She was like, this is insane. But then after I realized like, well, that's my way of identifying whatever God is. Right. But like after that, like I don't have any kind of concrete, this is exactly what I believe, but 100%. I am way more open to believing in a God now because of mushrooms. And I legitimately think there's something to be said of like, that is what like, it's of the earth. We're eating God and we get access to God. It's like the body of Christ kind of thing. Yeah. I think there is actually 100% a correlation. Done acid.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I would like to do acid, I think, again, because of the antidepressants. I feel bad. I was with a buddy and he was so excited to do acid with me the first time. He got me 2 tabs and he's like, we're going to have the most epic night. And he's just like, And I was like, I don't really feel anything.
Damn.
I just like drove home.
Like, you pussy.
You're just a fucking tank, dude.
Yeah, I was like, this sucks.
You would be the best dude to have in a car ride when you get pulled over by cops and you're like, we got to get rid of all these drugs, and you're just in the back.
Yeah, totally. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, Henry, you want to drive? Yeah, I got you. No worries.
So my roommate just did ayahuasca.
You did ayahuasca?
My roommate did.
Yeah.
And he did like the whole Peru like ayahuasca.
You went to Peru?
Shaman experience.
That sounds incredible.
I know. Other people can go to Peru. It's crazy.
I would love to do that one day.
Yeah. I think he had a cool experience. I mean, not to air out his whole experience, but I know he told me he went to the gates of hell and watched everyone he ever loved die, I think was part of it. So
it was a good trip.
So and he was like, but totally recommend it. I was like, you know what? That is probably not for me. But
the drugs that are like that are like so time breaking are always the wildest things to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the one where you're like,
because like DMT's like, it felt like forever and it was like 8 minutes.
Oh my God. Like totally.
That's scary.
I cannot imagine that.
And I do like, again, truly, because like I don't while in a way, like I said, it's like a contrarian take in a way which will never happen. I'm like, genuinely, I think the world would be a better place if that was the case. But I do mean it. If anyone hasn't fucked around with this stuff, like you do want to do it responsibly. And I just think it's like drugs, not a hot take, not the first person to say it. There's such a negative connotation, and it's just so fucked up because alcohol is so normal, and alcohol is literally just poison. It's just poison.
Yes.
It is so much objectively worse for you than any of that stuff, and they know. Like you read anything about the studies of psychedelics in the 50s and the positive benefits of it. Clearly, the man was just like, oh, well, we can't have people wake up.
Yeah. Right. But it's like also too, this whole like quarterly thing, it's like the worst case scenario, it's just a community thing.
That's what I mean.
It's just we're all vibing.
Everyone is just coming together to try to
it just become like there's more than enough for all of us now. So let's take care of each other.
Right.
But we don't need that much. We don't need that much excess.
Eventually we'll start opening up more to the idea of drugs, because it's like weed. Like once they found a way to market it as like a medicinal thing for people who genuinely need it, like you know, it started opening eyes. And like the only people who are really so anti-drugs are the boomers,
right?
And they're on their way out soon.
Yeah, totally.
So it's like eventually
he's gonna personally kill him.
Every single one of them.
Been telling me
that's
for
my
years.
hill to die on.
Not supposed to talk about
my hill to die on is gonna be
sure,
dead
we're just sending you
hill.
psychedelics in the mail. Just take it and don't take our word for it.
I do genuinely worry though, once, like I said, it becomes more accepted, that I don't believe that we're gonna be getting the real thing.
Oh no.
Because like when I was in Vancouver last, so it was really cool, but like BC, British Columbia is like it's.
So where's this?
Shut up! You're kidding, right?
No,
you know.
No, I just wanted all the geography.
If you give him a map, I don't think you could tell.
British Columbia is the west coast of Canada. It's gorgeous.
Not too far from Newfie. The Newfies.
Opposite side of Newfoundland, of the second largest country in the world, largest border in the world. Anyways,
but we got that border tight.
Yeah, building a wall. In the not green room, the like, what's it called? Fuck, whatever, like the VIP room of the Just for Laughs thing they had going there. They had like a ton of chocolate mushrooms, but then they had these like syringes of like juice that you shoot. It like goes up to a gram and it counts it down like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, whatever. And then you take like a shot of, it's like a Jello shot of mushroom.
Whoa.
And I naturally I tried,
of course,
but I was like, this just kind of feels more like I'm like
doing
really stoned in a fun way, but this isn't like there's nothing. I'm not having any kind of profound thoughts or revelations here. So I think when it does get like that, I don't think they'll ever allow it to be the real thing.
Right.
That's a good point.
They'll just monetize it.
They'll make it smaller dosage, fill it with other shit, so they can sell it on a larger scale.
It'll be closer to like what being drunk feels like, where you're like lightly euphoric, but not like having like.
Totally.
Oh my God, like all dogs can talk.
But
like,
the thing
and
about it
God
though
is
is
real.
too, like it is a natural thing. Like it isn't like alcohol. I mean, I guess alcohol is made naturally, but there's like a way to make it. But like mushrooms, like you can just pick that shit out. You know what I mean? So like there should be more of like because even weed, it's like so like pharmaceuticized now. I made that up, but I think it's
pharmaceuticized is a word for sure.
Yeah, it sounded. it really did sound good.
That's a good one.
You could confidently say that and a conversation with people and then be like, he said, that's a word. Absolutely. If you didn't immediately say it's not a word, a lot of people would be like, that's a great word.
If you said it
like,
confidently
you did the right
enough,
thing.
This dude reads.
You did the right thing.
I think I was the one who was stupid and didn't know the word. I'd be like, oh fuck, Greg.
Pharmaceuticized is now a word.
Yeah,
it should be. It's a whole system.
No, but you're right. But people talk about that with weed too. You go to the dispensaries and they're like, it's too strong. Like, you're not. It doesn't even feel like
every old comic ever has that joke. Back in my day,
yeah, totally.
Someone I talked to recently was like, he was saying, and I don't know how I feel about this take, but that weed has gotten stronger and they've kind of tried to push weed on us so that unlike shrooms, weed does make you foggy, makes you feel dumber. And now we're all going to be just like these dumb zombies who are like
too indifferent to do anything
bad
about
enough the shit that we're eating.
Totally.
The food in America is the worst.
It's not natural.
It's so gross.
Well, even just talking about like the drug stuff of like you're saying, booze is so normalized and it's literal poison. Cigarettes, obviously, that's its own thing. But even just like pharmaceutical stuff,
like any of that.
Like, oh my God, it's great. It's so accessible. But like they don't know anything still in the grand scheme of things about antidepressants because they haven't been around long enough to really know. But there, it's just like no problem. Take a crazy amount of this. But those mushrooms things, oh God, that shit'll kill you. And then you actually take and you're like, This is like
this
the
is
first
awesome.
time I actually
I've
felt
never been
really,
happy.
yeah.
Like,
it's bullshit.
So I come from like a more conservative family that like always was anti-drinking and drugs growing up. Always.
really?
Yeah.
Your parents don't drink?
Not really. My mom
I'm just
doesn't.
curious.
Like my mom's the type of lady that'll smell wine and be like, I seriously can't even drive. I can't even drive home right now. And I'm like, Mom.
Okay, I'm obsessed with that.
Yeah. But when my nephew was born, he was like totally couldn't walk, couldn't speak. Like he had like so many different brain surgeries because he was like, yo, he may not be a person, right? And then after the first 2 years of like giving him steroids, like pharmaceutically, he just got really fat, but nothing really changed. But then my sister, who was the one I was talking about, like did side research and found like, oh, let me do CBD. So cut all the steroids, started giving him CBD, and now he is totally like he obviously has developmental issues because it took 3 years behind, but like he walks, he talks,
Good.
He can move.
That's amazing.
But that totally broke my parents because my parents were like, that's crazy. Why would you stop that to give them like weed? Right. But now they're like, oh yeah, like CBD before bed is the best thing you can do. Like it's like, it totally has changed them.
Yeah.
So my hill to die on is every conservative family in middle America has to have an autistic son.
I think we.
Well, according to RFK, they do.
They really,
And that's where we got all the fields at.
They all have autistic
future laborers
that are trying to race women in sports. That's what they're all doing.
Don't even get me started.
They're all trying to fence women, and they're all autistic.
Coming from RFK.
RFK.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Around politically.
Your country's insane.
Yeah.
Your country's
Welcome.
fucking
We're
insane.
thrilled to have
Yeah,
you.
To be fair, you've been here almost as long as.
Oh, I'm complicit. I'm such a hypocrite.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like evils of America.
No, I'm on board with your plan. I think it's a good.
I think so. I would love to be around like conservative. What you're talking about. I'm not saying like conservatives suck. I just would love to be around and see the like moment.
Have you gone on the road in Middle America?
Yeah.
What's like the weirdest state that you would say you've done?
So I will say probably Tennessee, honestly. But my dad is from like small town Iowa. And so as a kid, I spent a ton of time in like rural heartland America and also the Twin Cities. So I feel like I got a pretty good sense of at least like that part of the country, and then living in LA for a little bit and living out here. Like, I think I have a pretty good sense
like a mix.
I think I have a fairly good sense of America. But yeah, the Midwest and like that kind of, like religious Christian middle America, towns and whatnot. It's very unique.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
It's so different
Honestly,
than Canada.
and it's not even that far away.
No.
Because it's like, I went to school in Western Pennsylvania.
Oh, parts of New
That's
Jersey,
it.
like
Wasn't it it's everywhere.
Like, yeah, it's
right.
true.
Like,
all
Like,
parts of the states.
Like people are always like, oh, that's just middle America. Like that's just like the Midwest. But like that's almost all the states.
It's everywhere. And then the big cities and the coast are like super
It's all coastal.
liberal and whatever. Yeah, that
It's
really
all
is.
coastal.
Yeah. But it's trippy how insanely similar we are in so many ways, but there still is just Americans are so different, and that kind of branch of America.
What would you say is the biggest difference between your average?
Again, like I this is a thing I'm trying to work on the jokes. I'm not trying to run material on you guys, but I do believe you got like Americans are just dialed up in good ways too, not just bad ways, but I just feel like you guys are dialed up. And I honestly, like, the thing I've been saying is like Americans feel more like Michael Bay directed.
Oh my God.
Sense?
That is the meanest thing I have ever heard.
You know what I
I
mean?
hate that motherfucker's movies.
I completely
You know
Michael,
what I
about
mean?
the plot?
Yes, I know
Fuck the
exactly
plot.
what you
Just make
mean.
the car blow
Yeah.
up.
Like you guys,
Canada's like a Wes Anderson version of America.
right? Like Canada,
Yeah.
like America
like,
is Canada. Like when I was younger, like Canada's like a kind of a boring nerd.
Yeah.
But then as you get older, like, oh, it's actually kind of cool that he likes canoeing.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
neat.
yeah.
When you're younger, like this guy who's wearing like hiking boots and he's at school. This guy, you know what I mean? Like what a dork. Then you get older and he's like, he likes camping.
Yeah, and he has health insurance. Like,
whereas
that's so nice.
America's the guy who was this and it's cool, but now he's the 45-year-old guy in the Letterman's jacket, like hanging out, like
hammered every day.
I threw for 8,000 yards my junior year. It was
You
ridiculous.
just saw my girlfriend sophomore year, bro.
No,
It's
totally.
crazy.
And the thing I've been joking about with your pharmaceutical ads is how you like, it's literally illegal to advertise in Canada the way you guys do here. And like the way it'll just be people having the best time. Everybody's like laughing, hiking, swimming in the ocean, having dinner, laughing. And it's just like, if you want to have fun like this, get AIDS so you can take this pill.
Yeah.
It's just that shit, I think, really does like, that has an individual impact on Americans.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, advertising runs our country.
Yeah.
Because it's like if anyone wants to talk about the brainwashing of American people, it comes from that. It comes from what the movies, like, it's like, it all is the
American
culture.
exceptionalism is a very real thing. And I lived in Minnesota 1 year when I was 12. And it was the strangest thing, because again, Canada is super flawed. And I think it's good that Canada is more coming to terms now, because it used to be this kind of, we're like Americans, but we're not racist. And thank God we're not Americans. But like the history with indigenous people in Canada is fucking horrible. Yeah. And I think starting to come to terms with that of our own shit that we really need to figure out. But there isn't this like, we're the fucking best. And the amount of times you go to the States and you like go to people's house for like a barbecue, I was like, why does every family have a portrait of them all wearing shirts that say freedom on them or something? You know what I mean? And they're all like standing in front of the flag.
It looks
they
like
just love America. And there would be times where like our teacher would just literally be like writing on the whiteboard and then stop and just look back and be like, you kids know you live in the greatest country in the world, right?
Yeah.
And the kids are like, yeah. And like having not grown up around that kind of mentality at all, I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
But now being older, I understand like that's it.
Yeah.
That's so much to do with it.
Yeah.
Just consistently dialed up and sprinkled in with all like everything being dialed up, but also sprinkled in with the like, we're better and more important than literally everyone. Like we're all that exists.
Yeah.
That shit does a number.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
We have the you're welcome mentality.
Yeah, dude.
You know
it's crazy.
I mean? Yeah, that's crazy. That is really interesting to think about. Because I mean, obviously we don't notice it.
No. And most Americans are great.
Well,
the vast
Greg's here. So
yeah. I mean, not present company. No, most Americans are very cool. But
and a lot don't travel. So it was like until I started traveling like last year, the first time, I was like,
Greg went to Peru recently.
I was like, whoa. But like Portugal, like, you know, every country with P, Paraguay next. The Philippines. It's not cool when you say Phil. It's just like you start to notice like the drastic difference. And then you're like, yo, we really aren't that good.
Right. And also just seeing, I think, and ties back into the mushroom thing of like empathizing with different experiences. I think that's such a huge part of like, say some people that I knew when I was younger in like the Midwest and that kind of culture I was talking about, the ones that have like branched out and have been exposed to other walks of life. It's not like you have to be this blue-haired freak running around and be like, use my right pronouns. But these are more like, I consider, and when people say stuff, Jaclyn and Greg, these liberal freaks, cucks.
Stupid cucks.
You don't have to be a stupid libtard cuck, but you can just be like, okay, I can accept that stuff's real. And then the people that haven't have just stayed in that pocket. Yeah. And if we're being honest, I think a lot of that kind of part of the conservative base is just like, if I haven't experienced it, then it's not true.
It's not real.
Exactly.
It's not my reality.
Yeah.
That's 100.
Yeah, and once they're doing shrooms with a blue-haired liberal freak, they are gonna learn.
Wait until they see a red-haired one.
Yeah, they're gonna freak out.
Holy shit.
Okay, I really like your take. I think we could.
Appreciate that.
I'm curious what Maxim and Jaclyn, what do you think?
Yeah.
I have too much anxiety to really think that it would be a good thing for me.
That's why you need it.
That's why she needs it.
I also did spend like a long time, or a 6-month period when I lived in California, microdosing every day. And I do think that it was good. It made me feel very euphoric, whatever. But I also think it made me think that like everything was really great to a detriment.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's a good point.
I like that.
You're too optimistic.
I microdosed every day for about a month and a half. We've talked about it on the pod a couple of years ago. And then one day I was at work and then Chris Rock and Jimmy Fallon came on and then I realized I macrodosed and I was
way.
Not a great.
They weren't even there. He just
I was freaking the fuck out. And I was like, I'm done for a while.
Just two mid guys when he was on.
But I'll say that it was definitely like a brighten of it. I think it, again, was the antidepressant side of it.
Yeah.
That was pretty great.
It was actually an outstanding point.
Yeah.
Damn it.
We talked about it for an hour and then we were like, what if we asked one other
I stand by it.
person's
Willing to
opinion?
die on it. You'll have to snipe me off that hill.
Yeah.
It'll help the
Henry was like,
anxiety.
it took you 12 seconds for me to get off that hill.
Maxim, do you have thoughts on the
Does he have a mic?
I don't know if he Oh, you're off mic.
Good
Okay,
job.
never mind.
Way to ask
Sorry.
the 2 people that don't have a mic.
I know this is the first time we have a guest, so I don't know who's allowed to talk. And
I think it's apology time.
I think it's apology time. Yeah. Okay. So Henry, on our podcast, we always issue a public apology at the end because usually we've offended multiple groups or individuals, and that's really powerful.
I'm very offended right now.
I don't know. We've never had a guest. Who should apologize first?
Jamie, what do you think I should apologize for? Usually, I'll just.
I can't remember ever who he needs to apologize.
Too many apologies. How do you keep track?
I only apologize if I feel like they'll be offended. I don't really. I'm not
you're
really
this much of an asshole everywhere you go.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly,
I'm never particularly sorry.
Apologize for insisting that you do the Cat Williams impression.
Yeah.
Not doing it, Grace.
I think you should apologize to Cat Williams directly.
Cat, if you're watching, he's not watching.
I'm sorry. I do want to apologize for bringing up geography. That was unbelievably boring. That was out of control. That was a crazy
I thought
move.
it was a bit until you kept going. And
I was being annoying, and I did it, and I had to do it.
Yeah. You did it, but
and sometimes this is kind of what the shrooms would bring out. You learn about yourself,
right? And we're learning,
like, oh yeah, don't do that. That's not good. And I want to apologize to you for immediately coming out the gate. So
yeah, that was a wild first question. We don't know each other. What do you think of me?
I just thought it'd be funny, and
I don't think that was the reason. I think you genuinely care about what the people think about you.
I do care, but yeah, I think
you strike me like a very nice, genuine person.
Thank you. I feel the same about you.
Oh,
I like you so much more than Greg. I can't believe.
Yeah, sure would hope so.
Okay, who do you need to apologize to?
I mean, I do apologize if I sound like a preachy asshole.
Oh,
I really do.
They don't get it.
Thank you.
They don't get it.
They're
offended. They don't fucking get
you're
it.
too stupid.
You've never
I'm
done
just
shrooms,
intellectually
you
on
don't
a
get
different plateau.
You might need to apologize.
The
entire Austin comedy scene. You just
Tony Hinchcliffe. I'm sorry if that sounded sarcastic, because you really fucking rule, man.
That was a
really
Canadian
you can tell
sorry.
It was genuine too because he said, "I'm sorry."
That was a really Canadian sorry.
Start crying.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it. I really want to go and kill Tony still.
Huge apology to Michael Bay as well. We love your work.
No, we don't. We don't. Michael Bay, no. He'll get me too at some point. I'm sorry for that. I just had to.
Legally, we don't necessarily mean that.
What about those weird stories about him and Transformers? That's why Megan Fox stopped doing it, because it was getting weird. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm sorry if I just made
Greg's
that up.
gonna do a Michael Bay impression next week.
Yo, my Michael Bay impression is gonna get me canceled.
His Michael Bay impression just like assaulting women.
I am seeing the ADHD so much more, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm not on right now.
I love it.
I'm not on right now.
I love it.
Yeah, so shout out Michael Bay. I'm sorry. I love former baseball player Jason Bay. He's from Canada.
You guys all know each other, right?
Yeah, I don't even know Jason Bay.
That's unreal, dude.
Not interested.
Sorry, I was really interrupting your apologies, please.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. I just walked right into saying I'm sorry. Like, oh, you said it. You guys have a segment of being like, say you're sorry, and then I say like,
we only have
Canadian was
we only have Canadian guests.
That was the most American shit. Say
you're sorry.
Better than them. Say you're sorry. Say it. No, I said my apologies to the goat Tony. Otherwise, I'm sorry that I can't have a conversation without bringing up depression and mushrooms. But
dude, it's
this is really it's a gift to him.
I've been trying to bring up therapy and depression with Grace on this podcast 3 or 4 times now, and then you know how bad it's gone is that today she was like, wait, it's depression? Like where's that coming from? I'm like, Grace, we have 2 clips about how I've tried to talk about it. That's how little you want to talk about feelings. See, I like when there's another person here that wants to talk about it, because Grace will shut that shit down immediately.
You get some men in here because these toxic women don't want to go on about their feelings.
Dude, look at what I'm all around these motherfucking snow bunnies.
Everybody wants to talk about how toxic we are. Where's the source?
Oh, these goddamn snow bunnies.
Why do you think we're
pumping
like
up my
this?
space, baby.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about real shit. Yeah, so that's my Cat Williams impression. Shout out, Cat.
What? You do Cat Williams? That's crazy.
Oh yeah. Next episode I got a Dave Chappelle.
All right, I can't wait. Okay, we gotta wrap this up.
All right, yeah.
Henry, thank you so much for coming on our podcast.
Before you leave, plug everything one last time.
I have a special on YouTube called Mr. Sir.
Great name.
It's also an album that's on the platforms. You can follow me on the shit. And I always like to plug my late brother's band, Worst Days Down, has 2 albums. That one's called Elsewhere. The other one's called Still Innocent. Give them a listen.
Absolutely,
cool.
dude. Well said. This has been an absolute.
This was so
much
fun.
I've had fun.
This was
really
lovely.
What better way to have a first guest? This was great.
This was so good.
Thanks for.
Let's never have another one.
No. Yeah, we're done. We're done now.
You can follow our podcast. We're at Hill to Die on Pod. You can follow me at gklobo.
At gregmelly. We got Jamie over there at jacksowack.
We're at my friend's basement. Say the word at one more time. Yeah. And that's our
been
podcast. Love you.
Peace, guys.
Bye.